I do not care if you have cancer. My child deserves your seat. This encounter happened about 7 months ago. I do not want to insult your intelligence, because you most likely already know what M and me stands for, but I should say that EK in this story stands for embarrassed kid and dog stands for old gentleman, 60-some-year-old guy. The kid was very polite and sorry, so this story isn't about him. Also, I'm translating this into English, so bear with me. A little backstory. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with a cancer of the nasal cavity, stage 2. The tumor was quite large, but thankfully benign. Edit. People have pointed out I formulated this wrong. By benign, I wanted to shorten the fact it still did not spread into other tissue, thus it was still contained, which is what I thought the word meant. I apologize for my gaps in knowledge. To get it removed, I first had to undergo aggressive chemotherapy to make it smaller. Thanks to the chemo, I had severe alopecia, hair loss, which made most of my hair and even eyebrows and eyelashes fall out. At some point I had to go bald, but I wore a wig, because I didn't want to look like a skinhead / neo-Nazi. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and pretty muscular, so I thought people would assume. So once, after a long chemo session in the hospital, I took the bus home. There's only one bus that goes from the hospital to where I live, so I took that one only to see it was absolutely packed. I felt like shit thanks to the chemo, so I asked a middle-aged dude to let me sit. He was very understanding and gave me his spot without complaining. If you're reading this, thanks bro. 2 stops later, enter M, a lovely whale with an eye demander parley with a CEO haircut and a 12-some-year-old kid. It took her roughly 5 seconds to see the bus was packed, start looking for a free seat, spot me and start marching, or, in her case, trying to fit in the aisle between the seats, while shoving others aside, to me. When I saw her, I knew I was screwed. She then stood next to me and decided to talk to me. This is the conversation that followed. M, hey, could you let my kid sit down? Me, you mean me? M, who else? Me, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm on my way from the hospital and M, cutting me off. So are we? Nonsense. The stop was a few kilometers away from the hospital. My boy just broke his leg and we're coming straight from the Her kid was standing next to her without any support. Clearly embarrassed. Me, he's standing next to you completely fine. M, look here, boy, I'm 21 yo. My kid deserves to sit down. Me, look madam, I'm sorry, but I just got back from a chemo session in the hospital and I need to sit down and rest. I then moved my wig a bit to let her see my bald head. M then straight up started yelling in my face. M, stop making excuses and get off the F and dash at INGCTUF at $ and ING skinhead piece of S *** T. At this point, I was baffled. I didn't know what to say. The kid was trying to make his mother stop, and we had the attention of the whole bus. She then grabbed me and tried to yank me from my seat. I held on tight and thankfully didn't fall off. Now, enter Og, my savior. Og, will you shut the F and dash K up you dumb cow? M, who do you think you're talking to? Og, with ice cold voice, stop assaulting other passengers or I will be forced to step in. Also, every dumb moron could see that the dude has cancer. M, no, he's just AF and at ing skinhead. Og, he's got no eyebrows you twat. Seems like that really offended M, because she spun around on the spot and threw a falcon punch in Og's face. I was shocked and in disbelief. The whole bus was flabbergasted, and the kid probably wished he'd never been born. Og then said something unbelievable and a golden, sweet karma moment followed. Og, okay, that does it. Harassing passengers on the bus, physical assault against a passenger and now assaulting an officer. You're in deep trouble lady. Og then pulled out a badge and told her to stay where she was. Then he pulled out his phone, called someone and told her she was being arrested. I couldn't believe it. Og was a bloody cop. At this point, M was as white as a wall. The bus had just come to a stop, so she decided she'd make a run for it, but other passengers blocked her way. She then also got charged with resisting arrest thanks to this. 3 stops later, a police car was waiting for the M and Ek. Ek told me he was sorry for his mother's behavior, and I felt really sorry for the kid. He wasn't a bad child, but his mother was a hellspawn. Or then talked to me and asked me if I wanted to press charges, to which I gladly said yes, took a statement, and thankfully was kind enough to let me solve everything on the phone, so I didn't have to come to the police station for questioning. In the end, M got some jail time, I think it was a few months, and some community service. I, in return, got a good story to tell, and the sweet taste of instant karma. Right now, I'm riding the same bus home, as I just got back home from the hospital after a checkup, which reminded me of this. A friend, who's sitting next to me, told me I should post it here. He, as much as myself, also couldn't believe that such people excised, but it seems I proved it to him. I should also note that the surgery went well. I was declared cancer-free in November and my hair is slowly returning. Also, I don't need to wear a wig anymore. Edit 1. Spelling errors. Edit 2. Thank you, kind stranger, for my first ever silver. Edit 3. Holy, thanks a million for the gold. Never had one before. Now I'll need to learn what it does. Edit 4. Platinum. I can't even. My fellow Redditor, you are a legend, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'd also like to thank everybody for their positive comments. You guys made my day, and I'm sorry that I cannot respond to all of them. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Entitled Mom Tries to Deny Her Dying Son His Wish and Tries to Kill Him because the books I got for him are satanic. Some backstory. I'm in a D&D group with a couple of friends from nearby, and one of the members of the group was a kid who was about 15 years old. He's a really sweet kid, likes helping other people out, and he's a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons. He also has cancer in both of his lungs. He's from a religious family that basically forces him to act pure while he's in their sight. The mom is WBC level rabid, while the dad is just a sensible person who just tries to get him to be a good kid. When he's out of sight of his parents, he just does normal teen stuff. Because of his mom, the only books he was allowed to own were Christian books and Bibles. He joined our group mainly as a way to escape his home life and his mom. A couple of weeks ago, the cancer in his lungs started to get to him, so he was taken to a hospital by his parents. He contacted me about this a day after he was taken to the hospital, stating that he wanted a monster manual as his last wish, stating that he was tired of reading the same things. I bought him the book from Barnes & Noble, but considering that he's a dying teen, I got him Valo's Guide to Monsters and Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes stacked on top of that. The next day, which was his birthday, he was still in the hospital, so I brought him the books as a gift. After he blew out the candles, we had cake, and he started opening gifts. Mine was the first to be opened. Seeing what they were, he immediately got this humongous grin on his face and hugged me. Meanwhile, his mom stared down at the books with a look of pure disgust, with her husband staring at her with this wary look in his eyes. She picks up one of the books and relights one of the candles and holds the damn book over it to try and set it on fire. I managed to stop her and demand, "What the fuck are you doing?" He asked me to get those books, and I'm not going to let you take them away. His mom simply stared me down and said something along the lines of the books being sinful, satanic, and full of evil, and that her son had no business with them. I retort and say that her son can read what he wants, and that she shouldn't have to force him to be Christian. She starts getting red in the face and yelling at me about essentially forcing children to believe in God from a young age. I state that I'm a Baptist, which I actually am, and say that faith in God is a matter between God and the individual. She turns red all over and actively starts to try and destroy the books, with me, my friend, and her husband trying to stop her. At one point, I shouted, "Would God want you to do this? To restrict your dying son's freedom of expression?" Right in her face. This just sets her fucking ablaze. She tosses the books aside and starts trying to strangle her son, and her husband calls security immediately when she does this. Security get here within about a minute of the two of us trying to pry him off of her son and drag her away, with her shouting that we are all catamites to the devil. Both her husband and my friend charge her with child abuse, assault, and attempted murder. Trial's still going, and I'll try to update this post as the trial goes on. Edit. Holy shit, I came back to 300 karma and this with 3k upvotes. Thank you so much for your support. Edit 2. Whoever just gave me gold, thank you so much. Edit 3. Thank you guys for the silver. Edit 4. Trial was almost a disaster. Me, him, and her husband all prosecuted against her. The moment she saw us, she tried to tackle us shouting something about divine retribution, but the officers restrained her. During the whole thing, she kept pinning the blame on me and him, calling us corrupted by sin. Needless to say, she was pronounced guilty of all 3 charges that I mentioned earlier. The moment she heard this, she went apeshit and tried to attack the judge, but officers taced her to the floor. Now she'll be serving for 20 years for the other 3 charges, with 10 more on top of assaulting a court official. Thank you all for the support you guys gave us. Edit 5. To all who are wondering, my friend's fine. The cancer is gone from his lungs. Ep wants me to shovel her driveway for free and put my dog down. I get hilarious revenge. This happened a couple hours ago. Hilarious ending. Backstory. I live in a middle upper class neighborhood. Everyone is very friendly and it's right next to a school. My neighborhood is in the east side of Pennsylvania, and if anyone lives near there you will know about the snow. We got about 6 inches of snow, so of course school was cancelled. This isn't important until later, but I also have a service dog. I woke up about 7 AM and decided to go outside and play with my dog. We were having fun running around when I noticed my neighbor trying to get in his car. Now I don't know what happened, and it's not my business, but my neighbor is wheelchair bound. He drives his car with those special handles you attach to the pedals. Anyway, I noticed him trying and failing to get through the 6 inches of snow on his driveway, so I decided to help him out. I went to my shed, grabbed a shovel, and some rock salt. I walked over and offered to shovel his driveway so he could go wherever he needs to be. My neighbor accepted and thanked me for being so helpful. Then he went back inside. Over the course of the next 45 to 60 minutes I shoveled his driveway and salted it. My dog sat at the edge the whole time, ready for action like the good girl she is. After I was done, I informed my neighbor, who thanked me again, and started walking away. Suddenly the clouds become dark, and it starts storming. Thunder and lightning everywhere. The devil had arrived. Not really. The entitled mom was walking down the street, and noticed me while I was finishing up. Then she decided to strike dun dun dun. Entitled mom. Ep. Me, my service dog. Lol JK me. Ep. Hey, so I noticed you shoveled neighbor's driveway, and I was wondering if you could shovel mine. Sure, I'll do it for $10. Ep, but you shoveled his driveway for free. If you haven't noticed, he can't move his legs or shovel the driveway himself. Ep, well I have children and I need to drive to the store to feed them. Well what's stopping you from shoveling? You seem perfectly fine to me. Ep, can't you just help out a mother? Give me $10 and I will. Ep, UF*CKING millennials have no respect for anyone. I am a hard-working mother and you have no right to refuse what I tell you to do. This bitch has the audacity to try to grab my arm and try to pull me. Yanks arm away. What the F***CK is wrong with you? Get away from me. My dog, although on the job, is very protective of me. At this point she stands in front of me and growls at the lady. Ep, your dog is crazy. She's going to attack me. You need to put down that monster. By the way, here is my little monster. See how vicious and dangerous she is? Yells sick girl. Dog lets out a single bark. Not even that scary. Ep, runs for her F***CKING life. Takes off dog's vest so she's not on duty and throws stick near Ep. She doesn't see it. Get it girl. Dog takes off towards the stick. Ep turns around and a look of sheer terror fills her face as she sees my dog barreling towards her. Laughing my ass off. I went home after that and gave her extra treats and pats for doing a big project. Hope everyone near me has a wonderful snow day. This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 international license. M wants me to lie about witnessing sexual harassment to protect her son L. So I teach 8th grade, and a few months ago I had a female student come up to me in private and tell me that a male student in her class was sexually harassing her. She shows me text messages that he has sent her detailing highly graphic sexual things he wants to do to her, and tells me some of the things he said to her. When they are in the halls, she tells me that she has asked him to stop repeatedly but he is still doing it, and she wants me to help keep him away from her in my class. So before I file a report, to have guidance and admin investigate the issue, I spend a class period keeping a close eye on the two of them to see if I can confirm or deny anything she's saying. Once I'm looking for it, I observe the male student doing things like licking his lips at her from the other side of the room, hovering around her, and finding reasons to walk past her desk. I personally overhear him make a sexual comment about her to another student. Based on what I've seen, I go ahead with referring the boy to admin for sexual harassment and make contact with parents of both students to inform them that the issue will be investigated by the school and possible disciplinary action will be taken. I don't make direct contact with the boy's mother, but I leave her a voicemail and ask that she call me back. The next day I'm in my planning period and I get a call from the office saying there's a parent there for a meeting. Now, our policy is that parent meetings must be scheduled in advance and logged with the office. I don't have any meetings scheduled today, but I have time, so I decide to go and see what's up. It turns out to be the male student's mother in the office. She very nicely asks if we can talk face to face about what's going on, and for some dumb reason I agree, even though usually we like to have another teacher or staff member present for meetings. So we go in a conference room and I go over the allegations, avoiding names. I tell her that a female student has accused her son of sexual harassment and I saw enough evidence in class to refer it to the office for investigation. Now what exactly did you hear? Because I know my son, he would never harass a girl. He might say something stupid that got taken the wrong way, but that's just not who he is. So what exactly did you hear him say? I want to know what this girl is saying about him. Me, I saw him licking his lips at her and overheard him say to another boy that he wanted to ride that ass all night. What do you mean licking his lips? He gets chapped lips. He might not be doing it to harass some girl. She can't just say things about him and try to ruin his life. I know my son, and he is not that kind of person, no matter what some girl says. Me, well, admin and guidance are going to investigate, and based on what they find they'll be in touch with you. So wait, what did you tell them? You can't just go and say, boy's name is harassing girls, based on what one person says. He's already been suspended twice, and now you're going to get him expelled, just because some girl wants to get him in trouble for no reason? Now I'm thinking, ugh, why did I do this? Mom is getting worked up. I have no one else there, and my next class starts soon. I repeat that I just reported the things the girl said, and the things I saw, and that it'll be investigated. I reiterate that I'm not the one making any final decision, and if she has an issue she needs to talk to the principal. Well, principal hates son's name. She's not going to listen. You need to go and tell them that this is all nonsense. You saw him licking his lips because they were chapped. I'm not going to have all this harassment bullshit. Me, again, if you have an issue I'm not the one to talk to. I just reported what I saw. They'll look into it. But you didn't see anything, and you need to tell them that. I'm telling you, I know my son, and you've got this all wrong. If he gets expelled because you don't know what you saw, it's going to be your fault. I eventually talk her down enough to get her to leave. I report to admin that parent is hostile about the accusations and go about my day. They end up investigating and finding hard evidence that he was actually sexually harassing 3 different girls. Boy got expelled.